Hey guys, it's Ron Wasserman, and we're doing another podcast here, and it is June 2013, so I'll get right to the questions because there's a lot of them. First one is, when did you meet Jim Cushionary and how long have you known each other? I think we met at Saban early 90s, so a little over 20 years now. Next question is, and when working on PR music with Jim, were there any songs you remember creating together that you remember to this day? I think Big Bang. I think that's the only one. I'm not sure if we wrote it together. It seems to me I remember having him come in and do some of the vocals with me or something. But, always fun to work with Jim. But that's the only one I remember. Next question. Did you compose music for a TV show called Grimm? Unfortunately, no. I work with those producers, Todd Milliner and Sean Hayes, on two of their sitcoms, Hot in Cleveland and The Soul Man. And I was up for Grimm, but the creator of the show wanted to use a guy he'd used in the past. That's how the business runs. That's all you can do about it. All right, next question. When you create a song for a TV show, how do you go about creating it? Usually they'll give me notes on what they don't want, and it's pretty common that they don't know what they want until they hear it. So, for example, on a new show with Kirstie Alley, I wrote 9 short themes for it. They're only like 12, 15 seconds, and just through the process of elimination, finally nailed it on theme number 9. So, as far as creating songs, they'll generally give me a breakdown of what they're looking for. Power Rangers, it was easy. They'll be fighting, right? Something about that. And on other shows, they'll give me a breakdown of what the subject is. And I just start with a groove and find a melody, start writing lyrics, and then work everything out under that usually. Next one. Have you ever watched any of the Japanese Sentai series of Power Rangers? Only stuff on YouTube, which I thought was really interesting. And probably when I was first doing the show, I probably watched one of the Japanese series, which, of course, they took a lot of footage from for MMPR. Next question. Do you have a set formula for the way and how you work? Not really. It varies for every single thing that I do, but I will say that I respond best to a really tight deadline. So there are times where, let's say I have 2 weeks to write something, I'll wait 13 days, and then it just seems to get my creative juices going. I can do it right at the last minute, and I seem to work best under a lot of pressure. Next question. Is it true that you created a Putties theme for Power Rangers, possibly called Go for the Z, short instrumental? If so, do you remember what it sounded like? It doesn't even ring a bell. The problem here is that most of the Power Ranger stuff, I left in the end of 95 and did a little bit more stuff after that, but it was such an excruciating amount of work because I was scoring Power Rangers, writing the songs, doing Sweet Valley High, doing score for that, X-Men, doing score for that, VR Troopers, doing score for that, and whatever other little projects they had. So it's really hard for me to remember everything that went on that didn't really get used. Next question. When creating PR Redo, I realized that 2 songs were missing from the album Zords and the White Ranger theme. Was there a reason why they were left off the album? Zords, there was no reason to create an instrumental or a new version of that track because the original's pretty perfect, and I don't think it could be improved. It could have sounded better, but I don't think there would have been a really big difference in recutting that thing. And as far as White Ranger, Tiger Power, I've just never liked that one, so I decided I didn't want to recut it. It just always bothered me, that track. I don't know why, but if I'm not really into doing it, there's no sense. Next question. I was wondering, it seems you said you could only recut songs from PR that were commercially released on CDs or cassettes. And they were saying, would it count if a song was put at the end of a VHS tape as a bonus feature on it? Unfortunately, no. In order to recut these songs without having to clear any licenses, they had to be released on audio-only products, so CDs and cassettes. Unfortunately, DVDs and VHS don't count, or I would have been able to do quite a few others. Next question. Have you heard any other PR theme songs that you thought were good, bad, or could have been improved on? I haven't followed them all that closely. They've all sounded pretty good. I just think they were missing the kind of, for lack of a better term, that raw, hard rock edge. They sounded a little too Disneyfied, too pop, too clean, too cookie cutter, including the remakes for the last few seasons now. They just don't sound real to me. So those could have been improved. Next question. Jim Cushionary disappeared from PR after Power Rangers Turbo. Do you know what happened or what he's up to nowadays, or if he's still doing music? Yeah, he kept doing music. I have no idea why he disappeared from PR. They probably just decided to use someone else, or maybe he did it until Saban sold the company. I'm not sure. And fact is, he just had a reunion gig with his band, The Wigs, in Milwaukee this last weekend. So he's still doing music and all sorts of other little projects. Next question. You mentioned previously that you and Jim Cushionary are good friends, and I was wondering if there is a second Power Rangers redo album, do you think it would be a good idea if Jim wanted to do it to have him on board for that? There's not going to be another one, and the reason being that a lot of licenses would need to be cleared, and it's just too much work. And frankly, and it's perfectly fine because I wanted to do the other album just to do it, the piracy has been off the charts with the thing, so it's really not worth the time to do that. Sorry. Next question. Do you know who went by the name Superpower? That might have been Jim. I'm really not sure. Sorry. Since the release of PR Redo, have you been tempted to go back and recut other songs not related to PR, such as VR Troopers, X-Men, Mummies Alive? Again, those things didn't have commercially released albums, so I'd have to go through this whole licensing process, which would be kind of a nightmare, but I have no plans to do any other stuff. Did I have a favorite Power Ranger character? And if so, why? I liked them all, so I never really particularly preferred one. Obviously the Pink Ranger, because Amy Jo was so incredibly beautiful. So I guess we'll say the Pink Ranger. Was there a particular hard piece of music you scored for during MMPR that you remember? No, just that one thing called Zords, which the cue name is actually PR Kitchen Sink, meaning it'll fit anywhere. So that was probably the most fun to do, and I think one of the longest cues I wrote for the show. Next one. You mentioned in a previous podcast that you had to score up to 9 minutes of PR music. Do you remember what episodes they were? What I meant was, so the shows, I think, were 22 minutes total per half hour, and I had to score, on average, to picture 9 minutes of music per episode, and then the music editor would pull from my library and kind of drop in the rest. So it was pretty much, the first maybe 20 episode, I probably scored wall to wall. After that, I was just doing 9 minutes. So it was everything up until when I left. So first 3 seasons.